The Raiders Report, brought to you by Bass Pro Shops. Hey,
How's it going?
it is going. It is going good.
It definitely is. Definitely is.
Yeah, so for those who haven't been watching recently, this is Joshua Arbuthnot, SAIT graduate, I believe, correct?
State graduate, voice of the State Trojans
Dinos?
and the Dinos. Did the football game this week. The Philpott twins, man, they are a dangerous combo coming to a CFL draft near you in the future. But for now,
It's
just
fun. Yeah,
have that with the Dinos. Sorry, go ahead.
it's funny because I don't pay attention to college football, but yet I've heard the names and I've heard people talking about them. So they're
They
obviously
are
big.
going to be dangerous. I think he filled one Philpott twin. I think it was Jalen, I believe. 2 touchdowns, 237 yards. Seemed like Josiah Joseph found him open every single time in the game that we had on Saturday. So a good start for a Dinos team that had lost a few pieces on defense, hadn't had a home game in 2 years. I mean, you're talking about a 2019 Vanier Cup champion, and they hadn't been able to celebrate yet what that Vanier Cup. So it's nice to see them celebrate the Vanier Cup, showcase off the Vanier Cup for the fans, and then get the win over a rival in Saskatchewan.
Yeah, that is very exciting. And it
Yeah.
must be exciting doing the play-by-play for that as well.
Yeah, it was. Well, this game I was the announcer, so I was doing the stuff over the big mic over the stands for the
Oh,
fans to hear. So that was definitely a thrill to get to add that to it all. And nice crowd there. Nice to see some fans back, and hopefully come basketball, hockey, and volleyball season for 3 colleges out here, and I guess 4 Ambrose. That we get to see some of that as well. We'll see. I mean, the CCAA just passed a rule today for for the states of the world that they all employees have to be double vaccinated for those games. So I think that's a potential for fans. And talking to Dino officials, they're still fingers crossed that that's going to be the potential with double vaccinated people on campus right now. Obviously, students on both campuses can't go unless they're double vaccinated. So it's weird. You're watching these American football games. You're watching the game from Vegas last night. Some are watching the Cowboys game. We're recording this right now. You see these jam-packed stadiums full of fans, and luckily,
yeah.
I know we're recording here in Calgary. Flames got to have an arena last night, but that's one of the best parts about the collegiate sports side is having those fans. And I know they're dying. Some of them didn't get to experience the sporting world last year. So hopefully some of those fans will be able to experience it this year. But I digress. Huge win for the Dinos. Congratulations to them. But we're here to talk about these guys right here,
Yeah.
Jason, because they're 3-0. And I think it's because you just became a member of the Raider Nation. You brought all good juju with you, I think.
I brought the juju.
You brought the juju.
Not Juju Smith-Schuster. Don't be confused,
Not Juju
fans.
Smith-Schuster, no. But I think you brought a lot of good vibes to this Raider team because we're 3-0 for the first time since 2002. Last time we did that, we went to a Super Bowl. We didn't win the Super Bowl, but hey, it's been as I told you, and I know you're a new Raider fan, so you have to go through some of the pain that we did, but you've heard about it, I'm sure enough. It's been a wild ride, and this team does not seem like a fake team, unlike other teams in our divisions that are also 3-0 that beat the Jets and the Giants and the Jaguars. Good job, donkeys. Good job, little donkeys.
Yeah. Tell us when you play a real team.
Exactly. So, I know you're always asking me questions. Where were you? This was obviously somewhat of an emotional game for you because, you're coming back in the NFL right now. You're a big fan of the city of Vegas, which drew you to the Raiders and everything like that. But you came off being a big Dan Marino fan and a Dolphin fan.
Yeah.
So kind of a crux of a game and a mix of emotions, I'm sure, a little bit in this game.
A little bit of a mix of emotions. I mean, I've still kind of paid attention a little bit to the Dolphins and what they've been doing in past years, and it hasn't been much, but but still. So yeah, this was an odd game. Unfortunately, I didn't get to watch the whole game because I was out and about doing stuff, but I watched the game recap on NFL, and I saw people on social media talking about it, and Definitely looked like another typical Raiders game. Very exciting, down to the wire.
Can't have anything easy. The heart is going to take a lot this year.
So it's funny that you mentioned that I'm bringing the good juju, and that I see so many people that are surprised because watching these games, they look like a team that hasn't missed a beat, and that they do this all the time. So it's funny to see people talk about them like that.
It's so interesting because in the past, I'm so still contained, and I think a lot of Raider fans are from the last handful of years of mistakes happening or slow starts happening, and that's it. We're still adjusting to this. Is probably a playoff contending team now, and I think we all knew that this was going to be a playoff team. But I still think that past haunts you, right? You go down 14-0, you have the pick six. That wasn't Derek's fault. Foster Moreau didn't go for this route. So both Derek's interceptions this year are not his fault. The one off Willie Snead's hand, and this one Foster gave him the route. I know Derek took liability for that, but that's just what a good quarterback does. It was Foster's fault. But you're like, oh my God, we're down 14-0 at home again. And I'm having deja vu. I'm like, am I back in Alliance Stadium all of a sudden and going back what I've lived on Monday again? And then, Andre James is having all kind of problems snapping the ball to Derek. The O-line isn't there. And then for some reason we get an opportunity to get a safety, and the Dolphins throw this bizarre, like kind
I
of
saw that
slant pass, and Casey Hayward with the easiest safety he's ever going to get in his life. And that just seemed to rejuvenate the team.
Yeah, that was a crazy play for sure. And yeah, the slow start. I was checking my score app, and I see it's 7-0. I'm like, okay, no problem, no problem, 7-0. Then I look and it's 14-0. I'm like, this is the Dolphins without Tua, right? And it's 14-0 in the first quarter. So definitely heart skipped a beat there.
Yeah.
But I mean the defense, you can't fault the defense on any of that. Like you said, the car pick six, the second touchdown, I'm not sure how I think it was a
There's a
running play,
bigger
wasn't it?
rushing touchdown. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought they did an okay. There was a few stump super penalties too. I mean, even the game tying drive, there's a part where the ball was ours and Max had a dumb hit on Jacoby Brissett. You just can't be doing that. You're one of your best linemen too. It's like you don't expect it from
Hmm.
your good linemen. I mean, even Colton Miller on the offensive line had a penalty, so got to clean those up a little bit.
Yeah, that's right. That was a Brown 24-yard run on that touchdown.
Yeah,
I'm recalling now.
yeah.
So yeah, the defense played a really solid 55 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And then the game tying drive comes down the field.
One time, no. Two times, no. Three times, no. You're feeling good about yourself, and then the quarterback runs it in. You're like, ugh. And they're like, and
I
at that
was
point, you're like, okay, they're getting the 2-point conversion for sure.
Yeah, I was in a store, and I kept refreshing my app, and I look and I'm like, okay, it's 4th and 20 and the game's over here. Like 4th and 20 with like a minute or two left. I'm like, oh, this should be no problem. Then I'm like, oh shit, they're down the field. Oh shit, here
That's
they
when the
come.
Max hit happened. That's when Max got
Oh, okay,
the
okay.
roughing the pass, and it was stupid too. It's one of the situations there was no need for it, and we're just like, Max, what are you doing?
Yeah, yeah. But from the highlights that I saw, it was a pretty good game. Carr had a hell of a game.
Yeah.
One thing I'm noticing from Carr, looking at the highlights and watching the previous games, is he throws a lot of balls where only his receivers can get them, and they're making
Mm-hmm.
diving plays, and they're jumping, and they're leaping for balls, and it seems to be working. I don't know if that's something that he's always done by design, or is he getting lucky?
Well, I think there's a few too. There was a Damian Lillard play that he called, where he just had that out of the reach. Like sometimes it's like you're saying, like he throws it and he's like, I'm gonna throw it deep. You better go catch that ball. And he
Yeah,
had that one, I think he was on their 30.
and he
And
had
he
two
threw it
guys in
deep
his
to
face.
Ruggs and he just missed
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Yeah, I think he's kind of starting to figure out his receivers too. Obviously, he has the communication with Hunter Renfro and with Darren Waller.
Hmm.
With a little bit of inactivity last year from Ruggs and from Brian Edwards not being involved in the offense as much, I think he's starting to figure them out a lot more, especially the speed of Henry Ruggs. And I think this was the best game Henry Ruggs has played. He made a few really clutch catches. Brian Edwards, you go to overtime, he's maybe the best player in overtime in the league. I think he has something like 189 yards in overtime now. He's just been outstanding in overtime. So I do think there's a side of that, Jason. And I think it's also getting used to and putting trust into Ruggs and Edwards that maybe wasn't there last year. And you can tell it's still at times too when the game's on the line, he's still looking for Renfro or he's looking for Waller because those are the guys he's trusted. But then you got a great running game from Barber. Like I didn't see that coming at all.
Yeah, he's got a lot of targets, that's for sure. I mean, Renfro, Ruggs, Edwards. He's definitely got a lot of targets, and the running game doesn't seem to be missing Jacobs at the moment. So,
and it's crazy to think like where this team can. And I particularly think they kept Jacobs out of this game on purpose. I think he maybe could have gone from some things I've heard. But I think they looked ahead to the game we're going to have here on Monday night against the Chargers and figured we can beat the Dolphins without him. We beat the Steelers without him. We can probably beat the Dolphins without him. Let's give Jacobs one more week with this toe, and then we can bring him back. I expect him to be playing on Monday night. And, I mean, we're going to have Jalen Richard off IR, so you're going to have 4 capable backs on that roster. And if for some reason Jacobs isn't off, having Richard back is going to be huge. And I don't know what that means for fantasy owners where you go. Don't go spending all your fab bucks on Peyton Barber with Jalen Richard coming back, because he may be the go-to back on Monday if Jacobs is out.
Yes, definitely going to be a great game on Monday night. One other thing of note from this past game is Carlson. He's money,
except for the extra point that could have just ended all the stress.
Yeah. Well, extra points are hard, right?
Apparently, no. He's been, it's weird that he missed that because he's been so clutch. But when he lines up, you feel pretty good about the kick. It's so weird that he missed that extra point because he misses that, and we're having a much more relaxing fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, we got guys hitting 66-yard field goals to win games, and our guys not kicking extra points.
Yeah, it's going to be such an interesting game on Monday too. I don't know where the Twins are going to go. The 2 drunk brothers are going to go for their picks. If you've done it with them already,
I haven't yet. That's tomorrow.
Okay, that's tomorrow. We're breaking the fourth wall here. The line is 3 right now for that game, and I fully expected that because it's home for them. But I can tell you right now that the Chargers are going to come off this high of beating the Chiefs, and I think the Chiefs maybe could have won that game. Some things went another way. I think the Raiders can come in and win this game, and I do think the Raiders might even have more fans in there because the Raiders still run LA. It's more fans in LA than there are Rams fans and Charger fans in LA. You will see Raider fans from Oakland specifically travel down for that game that haven't got a chance to go to Vegas. And there's already an integration of people that are still LA Raider fans are going to be in there. So, well, it may say on the docket, it may say Chargers home game. Believe me, when you hear it, it's going to sound like a Raiders home game on Monday.
That'll definitely be interesting to see. Yeah, they got Chargers 3.5 points, 52.
Well, it went up a point now. It was 3 before.
3.5. It looks like it's at right now, and 52.5 for total points. So
okay, I feel good about it. I mean, and you look at our schedule after that, Jason. It gets a lot better.
Yep,
it gets a lot better. I feel good about this team. I don't know where Carr is in the rankings for MVP right now. I think most people would probably put Stafford 1. Just because the Rams are like the best team in the NFL right now, but he's right there. It's like Stafford, Carr, and Kyler Murray are probably your 3 main candidates right now.
Yeah, I saw somebody post on Twitter today that he was top 5 for sure, and I responded and said, "Oh, top 3 for sure."
Yeah, he's not. The Raiders, all due respect to the defense, the Raiders aren't. Like, he's just been a general. I mean, I go no further to that play that I got the same person with the Ravens game. We kind of saw what good quarterbacks do, right? You saw that with Aaron Rodgers last night against San Francisco. Boom, boom, boom down the field. Mason Crosby hits the field goal. You saw that in the Ravens game. Ravens come, get that touchdown. You're in Vegas. You're home. No timeouts. Boom, Edwards. Boom, Edwards. Boom, Edwards. Carlson field goal. We're going to overtime. And quarterback too. And a lot of people, it's so funny too, Jason. People are just so ready to just knock DC this year right away, right? The people that still don't believe he's an elite quarterback and not a good quarterback. And as soon as he threw that pick 6, Twitter was ablaze. Like, oh, I told you Derek Carr wasn't good. I told you.
Yeah.
And then he comes back with a win, and those people got really, really quiet.
Yeah, Twitter is always very interesting when you're watching sporting events, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So it's
So
I got him winning on Monday. I'm going with it. Go 4-0. Let's do this.
it should be a nail biter as usual, but I'm hoping they can pull it out.
So I guess we'll be back here on Tuesday then this time for that one.
Yeah, we'll come back on Tuesday next week to record this.
Unless it's
And
crazy, maybe we'll do a live hit right after.
well, that would be interesting. We could maybe try
Right?
that.
Yeah.
That
But yeah, it's been an exciting 3 weeks, and I mean, I wouldn't even say like you've really seen this full team yet because we don't know what this team is like with Jacobs. Really, we've barely seen Josh Jacobs with this team.
right. Yeah, so I guess you're saying he's going to come back this week, and we'll
That's the hope.
possibly
John
see
Gruden
that.
said today that he plans for him to practice on Wednesday. So
I
that's the
saw that.
plan
Yeah,
from practice today. So and I think they get the extra day of practice too because of the Monday night game. So they'll get an
right.
extra day to kind of push him along. Like I said, they waived Vegas today. They'll probably go back to the practice squad. But that was because Jalen Richard came off the IR. So Richard coming off the IR, that's I don't know. I think honestly, if Peyton Barber hadn't had the game, I don't think Peyton Barber would have been on this roster, especially with the 2 fumbles that he had. But I think he kind of changed the perspective of where he is as a back on this depth chart of everything now. So we'll have to kind of see where he lines up with everything. But it's the number 1 ranked offense in the league. I think it's definitely a top 10 ranked defense in the league. I think right now Yannick Ngakoue and Max Crosby are the best 2 ranked defensive linemen right now. So everything's exciting. And as I joked to one friend yesterday, I'm like, Rams Raiders Super Bowl. Let's do this in LA.
I think I called a couple weeks ago Raiders and Buccaneers Super Bowl. So
I remember you saying that, and it doesn't seem so crazy now. Like I think this team can go head to head with. You look at that AFC, Jason, and there's teams that obviously scare me, but I think we can go head to head with the Browns. We knocked them off last year, and they made some improvements, but nothing that is dire. I think we can take out the Bills. We beat Kansas City. I know we can beat Kansas City. I think this is a team that is gonna flex some muscle in the AFC this year. Now we have the weapons, we have the defense. Finally, I think it's time for the rest of the AFC to get put on notice. Now we're here,
yeah,
we're real. The
yeah,
games are going to be stressful, but at the end of the day, like you said yesterday, just one baby. It's what Al Davis always said: just win, baby. That's the Raider way. Just win the game. It doesn't matter how you do it, as long as you end up with a W.
yeah, exactly. Well,
Yeah.
we'll find out Monday night if we can get the W again, and maybe we'll do a hit on Monday night. If not, we'll be back Tuesday to record.
All right. Cheers. Go Raiders.
All right. Have a great night.
Cheers.